So the other day, stole my cord down there. The other day, as I was coming home from Secaucus, New Jersey, I got tired of listening to the radio because, you know, a lot of things, 11 hours, you can listen to a lot of things on the radio, music, talk radio, NPR, PBS. And I just got tired of listening to it. And let me say this real quick about NPR and PBS and even Planned Parenthood. Liberals have carped for years about corporate welfare, how we shouldn't be giving corporate welfare. If you're going to complain about giving it to people, then you should complain about giving it to corporations. Fine. Then let's stop giving it to PBS and NPR and Planned Parenthood because they're corporations too. Can I get a big amen on that one? So these people are getting money from the government, and they are nothing more than liberal propaganda arms for the Democrat Party is all NPR and PBS is. Okay? And they are no different than Joseph Goebbels was for Adolf Hitler. You go back and research Joseph Goebbels. He was Hitler's propaganda minister. He was the one feeding everybody horse crap and making them believe it. And today, we're sort of in that same boat. And what I want to talk about is the things that are the devaluation of human life and the fact that just about everything that we do is about money. See, back in 1830, there was the Indian Removal Act, Native Americans as we call them today, and all of the Native Americans, all of the Indian tribes who lived on the east coast of this country from the tip of Florida all the way up to the coast of Maine were removed and taken, well, not they weren't taken, they were marched to Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, where there was a reservation set up out there. The Cherokee, there were 16,543 Cherokee that were marched from the hills of the Appalachians out to Oklahoma. It's estimated that between 2,000 and 6,000 of them didn't survive. They weren't given horses to ride. They weren't given wagons, to ride in. They weren't given blankets on cold days or anything. They froze. They starved. They just died of exhaustion. And all this was done, why? For money. All of those Indian nations that were moved, it was done for money. It was done for the expansion of white people. White European people had to conquer the nation, had to move these people out of the way, and in the process they had to devalue the life of the people they were running off. They had to say to themselves as a nation, we had to say to ourselves as a nation at that time, these people do not matter. These people are no more than savages. They are no more than people who are not like us. Skin color's different, hair's different, they eat different foods, cultures are different. Everything about them's different, so they're just animals. They're savages to be moved from here to there for our benefit because it benefits us. It was about money. Slavery was about money. Don't be fooled. The North wasn't some righteous patch of ground up there that everybody up there was saying, oh, we shouldn't do that. No, they were reaping the benefits. They were complicit. The U.S. government was complicit in slavery because the U.S. government was reaping 80% taxes off of the slave trade from people who owned them. So if they didn't believe in it and they were against it, if they thought it was morally wrong, then why were they making money off of it? It's my question. But some guy one day decided, you know what, we heard, it's always we heard, right? We heard that some people are going over to Africa and these tribes that are fighting each other are capturing each other and in some cases whole villages, and they're selling off these people as slaves. We can go over there and buy some, bring them over here and make them do what we want them to do, and we don't have to pay anybody. Ooh, free labor. Kind of like China and Mexico. We go buy their stuff, don't we? And they doing just about the same thing. So we bring these people over here, and I'm thinking, how sad that must have been. Even as an old white guy like I am, to really think about it, if you really think about it in the true perspective, it will break your heart. I thought all these people were taken away from their land that they loved, taken away from their families in some cases, I'm sure, children, and you go look down in the hold of this ship, and you see these hundreds of little black faces looking up at you, that all they want is to be set free, put back on their land, let live, as they see fit. But here they are, they're cooped up in this ship for weeks at a time, months at a time. Thousands of them die in transit. They defecate on each other. They urinate on each other. Who knows what they were given to eat or drink. I don't know. But it's sad. It's sad that we went through that as a nation. And you think the same thing. If you think back at it, on it, and you look at it in its true perspective, you look at all those Native Americans who died, who were marched out to Oklahoma. Look at all the black folks who were brought over here and against their will and turned into slaves and beaten and mistreated the way they were. There was no sense in that. There was no goodness in that. There was no humanity in that. You know what we had to do? We had to devalue their lives. We had to say their lives don't matter. We had to look at those little black people and we had to say, you know what? They don't matter. They're no different than a mule or a horse to be stuck out in the field somewhere and worked till they drop. That's all they are, is a bunch of animals. We had to do that as a nation, and we did it. We did it with the Cherokee. We did it with the black folks that we brought over here as slaves. We did it again with the Japanese internment to some point. Hitler did it with the Jews. Joseph Stalin did it with his own people. Saddam Hussein did it with his people. We see this, and every time that something like that happens, there's always a contingency of people in the nation at the time who say it's okay. They have to devalue that group of people's lives in order to do what they want to do to them. So now, the lives I want to talk to you about are the unborn lives. Those are the ones that we're abusing today. We're devaluing their lives. We have to devalue them. We have to say it doesn't matter. It's just a blob. It's just a bunch of tissue. And that's all it is. Because it puts us out, doesn't it? It makes us have to take responsibility for something that we created. We created. Something we made. So we're going to devalue that life now. We're going to say it doesn't matter. It's just a blob. It's just the whole nation is up. Well, not the whole nation. Some of us still think it's abhorrent. But there's a lot of people who sit in churches who look at that and say, oh, yes, we understand. We don't believe in it, but we think that they should have the right to. No. See, here's the thing. If you go out and you vote for somebody, if you go out and pull a lever for somebody who supports it or promotes it, you're just as guilty as they are. You have devalued that life just like they did, just like they're having to do. And the thing about the people that pass these laws is they don't care because it's all about money. Planned Parenthood don't care because it's all about money. They're making millions of dollars off of these poor women, these dead children that they're killing. It's not about health issues. There's no health involved if you have to kill somebody. So you think about that today. You think about the Trail of Tears. Think about the black folks who were brought over here on the slave ships and how bad that was in our human history. And think about this, that one day we're going to be looking back at this and we're going to see it the same way. We're going to think to ourselves, how could we ever have done such a nasty thing? But we did it because we devalued human life once again.